Everyone, I'm Gautam, aka the Seeker of Wisdom. I'm a manifestation coach, and in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about self concept. Now, before I do so, I'd like to remind you guys I am available for coaching. I offer hourly, monthly, email, and DM coaching. The link will be in the description down below, where you'll be led to a coaching FAQ page where you'll have all the information you need. Thereafter, you can actually message me via Instagram or email me at 28seeker@gmail.com for pricing details and so on. I also have a Facebook group where I upload resources from time to time, as well as you can ask me questions anonymously. And I also have a mailing list where I post articles from time to time, as well as my latest offers for coaching as well. Again, all the link will be in the description down below, so be sure to check it out. So without further ado, guys, let's get to it. So what prompted this video was a late night discussion with one of my friends, actually. So I was just talking to my friend of mine about manifesting and so on, and we were just having a discussion about self-concept and a lot of other things, right? And funny enough, like, she and I noticed a trend, a very specific trend in the community, and particularly this is more geared towards the Facebook groups, right? So as you guys know, if you are in the community, you will know that many prominent content creators have large Facebook groups, and many of these groups, like, have a total strength of more than 10,000 members or more. And what I noticed in some of these groups, and I'm not going to name those groups obviously, but what I noticed in some of the more prominent ones was that there was this trend going on where people would post certain things as an indication that their self concept is on point, right? So they will say, like, okay, this dude messaged me, this dude is coming after me every single day, and then they will post, like, the message requests and whatnot, and then they will say, like, okay, so here are my affirmations, and this is why, and their point is like, okay, so this is why my self concept is on point, basically, right? And the point that my friend made, which I completely agree with, is that your self concept is not tied to something in the 3D. Rather, it's something that you feel within, right? Like, regardless of if someone texts you to tell you that you're pretty or hot or whatsoever, like, you should know that that you are the goddess of your reality, or the god of your reality, so to speak, right? You should feel like a king or a queen, regardless of if those compliments or if those things are arriving in your life or not. That is the point of self concept, right? But I feel that a lot of people tend to place an emphasis on the 3D, right? And they tend to place a lot of emphasis on things like BBL, which is essentially birds before landing, the idea of, like, you getting signs before you actually get your desire. And a lot of people are like, oh, my self concept is on point, I feel like this is birds before landing. I feel that my self concept is on point because of all these things that are happening in my life and so on, right? And I would say, like, these people aren't talking about their end desire when they are talking about all these things. Mind you, a lot of them, in fact, are talking about the middle, right? And that's the issue I have, is these people are essentially focused on the middle of things rather than the end goal. And this is where I feel like you shouldn't focus on the middle, right? You should always keep the focus on the end, right? This is why Neville says live in the end. He never said live in the middle, right? And I feel that a lot of people tend to do these kinds of things because they are focusing on the middle, right? So like, my point is this, right? If your self concept is really on point as you say it does, right, you shouldn't even be focusing on, like, people texting you and whatnot. Like, I mean, sure, these things are like icing on the cake, but rather you should keep the end focus on the desire in and of itself, and it hardening into fact. And the only way it hardens into fact is by persisting in the assumption that it's already done, right? That's where your end focus should be. And of course, you feeling like you have all that you need within, right? You feeling like $1,000,000 every single day, irregardless of something happens or not. That is self concept right there, right? Self concept to me is feeling Like, regardless of what's happening right now, I know for a fact that my desires are a done deal and that I am worthy of receiving all that I desire just as I am right now, right? So I don't use, external things to validate, my self concept, essentially, is what I'm saying, right? Because I know, right, that regardless of what happens or not, I am worthy of receiving all that I desire. And it's that knowingness that we are referring to when we talk about the development of self concept, right? And I feel like a lot of people get so caught up in the middle. And this is something that I have noticed a lot. And my friend kind of like reinforced that by parroting back, like, what I was thinking in my head. I mean, yeah, everyone is pushed out, but like I felt that like this was something that I had to address, because I'm noticing that a lot in the community recently, more so than ever, especially when it comes to SP, right? Or SP related things in general, right? Even if it's not their SP texting them, for example, a lot of people, get interests from, maybe their past lovers, like maybe their ex, or just, passes by on the streets or whatsoever, right? And they use that as validation for their self concept, essentially. But in my opinion, like, some people may disagree with this, that's more of a boost for the ego mind more so than anything else. Because a strong self concept, in my opinion, doesn't seek the validation from the outside. Because regardless of all of those things, like, who you truly are. And if you don't have that sense of knowingness, that confidence that's being generated from within, right, then that's what you have to work on, right? Sure, you may start to see signs when you are affirming and everything, right? But my question is that sustainable? Can you maintain that level of confidence even if those texts and those compliments are absent from your life totally, right? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Strip away everything that you feel like is empowering you in the 3D, and do you feel like $1,000,000 despite that? Ask yourself that question. And if the answer is no, right, it's not that you suck or whatsoever, right? It just means that you are still progressing with regards to the self development area, self concept area, right? And this is something that I feel like the community needs to hear, and this is why I'm posting this with regards to self concept. Because a lot of people tend to like say self concept, self concept, self concept, but I feel like they're missing the point here, because of the fact that they perceive it wrongly, in my opinion, at least. Because I feel like self concept is about empowering yourself from within, being your own source. And the reason why it's so important to be your own source of confidence and validation and everything is because when you tap within, guys, that's an infinite source right there, right? When you tap within, again, that's an infinite source. Whereas like all those external validations that you may receive from the 3D, that's a finite source, right? That's a finite source. It will run out one day, right? So maybe people may stop complimenting you, for example, or you may not receive the things that maybe, like, let's say you're an artist, for example, right? People may stop paying you or something. But despite that, however, despite all the fluctuations in the 3D, a person who has a strong self concept in its truest of sense, right, will be so undeterred by all that he or she sees in the 3D, because they know from within that they are a great artist, for example. And so things will just form around them in such a way that everything works out favorably for them. So again, it's more about validating yourself and empowering yourself, more so than using external markers as indication of the strength of your self concept. So this is something that I really wanted to address, guys. Again, I'm not here to offend anyone, but this is like what I feel is something that's very prevalent in the community right now. And this isn't like a right or wrong kind of thing, but it's more of like just knowing this is going to help you to really develop the self concept in its truest of senses. That's my objective here, is to empower you so that you don't have to rely on anything external, right? Because the only person that you truly have to really depend on, even in the most testing of times, is you, because everything you need is already within, right? So guys, we have come to the end of this video. If this video resonated with you, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Press the subscribe button so that you won't miss a video every time I post one every single week. Turn on the notification bell so that you will know when I upload a video every single week. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy manifesting. Peace.